Do I regret Citlali? Now, the answer to that is obviously no. I use Mavuika almost every day at this point, so this character is very crucial to her. You know, it's her and Shieldon, and they're two respective differences, right? Of who is better for Mavuika. The only reason I would say I regret Citlali is because Arlecchino's team is so much better with Melt. Like, it is so much better. But the thing is, having Arlecchino's C2 makes her Melt teams so much harder to play. So much. Genuinely, this C2 is just so annoying, and it's like, I really wish I didn't even get it. Like, genuinely. Because it's just, at this point, it's like I am forced to play in vape teams with Arlecchino, and it just, you know, I really don't like it. Because Arlecchino, to me, you know, is a character where, you know, if I had to do a special normal combo where I had to dash in between it, sure, whatever. But when you have to, like, set up, and if you don't set up correctly, you lose all your damage, basically. Like, that amount of, like, loss is just too much. It is genuinely too much. And that is what Citlali is like, I would say. You know, if you can do it on Mavuika too, if you go too early, or, you know, when you're doing your charge attacks, you can do that too on Mavuika. But Mavuika melts her on initial Q, which is very easy to time, at least for me, because what I do in my initial Q for Mavuika is literally, I just go as fast as possible, get into the initial Q, and then we're good. And that is generally what, you know, kills half of the boss's HP, even if I miss all the melts on Mavuika's charge attacks, which I barely do. But if I did do that, then I would still be able to kill, because my Mavuika is hitting for 1.8 million because she's a C2 Mavuika, right? It is genuinely, like, it's easier to cope with, you know, Citlali if you miss her melts than, you know, Arlecchino, by far. And Arlecchino, I mean, she is literally my profile picture, right? So you guys should know, like, I care about this character, right? And, you know, I do wish that she was a little better. She is super fun to play, only, you know, now she's not so super fun because her C2 ruins melt combos a lot. And yeah. Hi, don't want to take up too much of your time. Quickly go to the link in the description and type in my username here, and you will find that I have a video you guys can vote for. Thank you guys so much for the support. So you can vote for this video. You can actually vote every single day, so if you've already voted, you know, you can go back and vote. You don't have to, you know, but if you do want to help me get access to the creator server, then feel free to go ahead and do this. Other than that, in terms of her shield, I've never used this character for her shield. I've never done it. I've literally never done it, because optimally, you'd be running something like Instructor or Scroll on this character, right? I choose to run Instructor because Scroll is guaranteed, so is Instructor, and so is Noblesse. That means that no character, no, I'm not gonna like miss 35% damage bonus trying to use Archaic Petra, right? I can just use all these buffs, get everything guaranteed, and we're good. So I can get all those buffs, and it's really nice. And I think, honestly, you know, it is nice. And Citlali providing, you know, the extra elemental mastery here is really good. And then we also have Thrilling Tales of Dragon Slayers, which is very good, I would say. Thrilling Tales of Dragon Slayers being a great support option for a 3-star weapon. 48% attack basically guarantees that Arlecchino and Mavuika are going to do insane damage, right? Mostly Mavuika, because if you use Arlecchino, you do only have 10 seconds of this, which is typically not, well, I don't know how on-field time Arlecchino is, but I think towards the end of her rotation, you do end up running out of it, because if you're trying to use all of her Bond of Life, which is mostly what people do, I would say, I don't think people, you know, go, oh, I'm gonna save my Bond of Life because I'm, you know, able to. Typically, I feel like most people go until they see physical damage numbers with Arlecchino. So Arlecchino, towards the end of that, is not going to be having Thrilling Tales buff, I imagine, because her rotations, when you do that, are like 20 seconds, right? So it's a bit. Other than that, yeah, Citlali genuinely is just really good. I've never used her for exploration also. Just never really been a thing for me. So yeah, I just see no point in regretting this character when she is so good, when she makes all Pyro DPSs super good. I mean, other than Citlali, or... I don't even remember who I was about to say because I messed up so bad. I think I was going to talk about gaming. Other than gaming, which gaming, the issue with him and trying to use Citlali is if you want to do like a weird build where gaming is using Citlali and you have him like gaming can work if you're using only his E and Q, but I think there is like people who do like C6 gaming and use C6 Bennett to plunge up and down up on the enemy, and you wouldn't be able to do that with Citlali, and that would be I imagine she's still a DPS gain because she is so strong, even if you were just EQ and whatever. Not that I am a super a great gaming main. As much as I like this character, he is very good, and I just don't use him. I don't understand. I really liked this character when he came out. I was like, man, they really gave him a 5-star design. He's gonna be useless though. He's not. He is genuinely good, and I have him at C6. Like, I feel like this is kind of like a waste of my account. I feel like I've kind of wasted gaming because like I can build the good gaming. I feel like I just need to send him to 90 and crown his talents. But yeah, we'll see if I ever do that one day. Maybe when he's power crept and I get to complain about him 500 times in one video, then I'll go ahead and I'll raise him up, obviously. But yeah, there's not really much else to say. I do think that Citlali just is good. Oh, I guess there is one other thing, right? We do have one other thing we can talk about. Where is it? Hydro Res. That's useless. As someone who, uses, Nevi, sometimes, right? I do use them. If I ever use this guy, I'm not using Citlali with him. You think that a puny 20% Hydro Res is gonna make me use Citlali with this character, right? Maybe if it's Ayato, right? Ayato, oh, you can get 48% attack here. Oh, you can use Scroll Set or something, right? And, Ayato maybe not using Shieldon, right? I think the big issue is that Shieldon is a part of a lot of the teams that I build because she is that good and she gives damage bonus, and overall is kind of just better because she's also giving more Res Shred easilier. Yeah. But yeah, Nevi never really makes it out to be actually, useful with Citlali, and I don't have any, attack scaling Hydro characters really. I don't have Ayato basically and a Tartaglia. I don't have those characters, so I don't use Citlali with them when she can give them, 48% attack easily, and then also, Instructor with giving, 80 Elements of Mastery, or well, Elements of Mastery doesn't matter, but like Noblesse or it's Scroll Set, right? It's just generally Shieldon is kind of just better for that, right? She can give them 65% damage bonus. Citlali can give them 68%, but then she's only giving him 20% Res Shred, whereas Shieldon, go ahead, 36%. 36% is a lot better than 20%. It's almost double. It does get halved at a certain point, but it only depends on what enemy you're fighting, right? Yeah, so if I were to be entirely honest, this 20% Res Shred, while it's nice, it's never going to be something that I think a lot of people should put stock into. Specifically, Pyro Res Shred, it can do a lot, right? Because Pyro characters hit hard. Whereas Hydro Res, it just really isn't a thing. I feel like, especially because I feel like we have way more pyro resistant enemies, right? So this 20% actually wouldn't get halved on a lot of pyro enemies. However, Hydro Res, we've really, at least we haven't encountered that a lot, Typically, whenever we have a high Hydro Res enemy, it's typically just immune. That is typically what happens. When Hydro Tulpa comes out, it's like, oh, it's immune. Oh, yeah. So typically that's what we see, rather than, oh, it's got, 70% res, whereas we see a lot of characters or a lot of enemies nowadays have 70% pyro res, I feel like. So yeah, I do wonder, how good Citlali may be in the future, because if we really do look at her kit, she has this. And that's kind of it in terms of her baseline kit, in terms of her kit. And then the rest is artifacts and weapons. So we'll see. I do feel like I could put some faith into her. I mean, we also do have this, because I do judge characters with their C1 or R1, right? So this would also take into effect. Now, haven't used this, obviously. It's 200% of her elemental mastery, which definitely would put a, nail in the coffin for my build, right? Because my elemental mastery build here, or not my elemental mastery build, but the, instructor, having such, need for ER, right? Like, you need ER. Whereas, Cinder, you don't need ER, right? Or you don't need as much ER. It is, kind of a bit of, like, oh, get Citlali C1, right? I feel like this would be good mainly for, Nevi teams, not necessarily Mavwika. because Mavwika, I feel like 200% of Citlali's EM, it is probably still just better to run this and get the guaranteed 120 elemental mastery for Mavwika herself. It's just, you know, it's a little bit of something, right? I do imagine that, you know, that's how things would go. Also, her signature would heavily help that out, right? Because you would have the signature 28% damage bonus and then like 300 elemental mastery, right? And that would push her up to just 600 just even being on this set, which is insane. So just giving a little bit of an idea as to what I do with Citlali here. Basically, she's able to clear Pyro with her E and Q, and then you immediately Q there, and then that, then 600,000, then that, and then there we go. Oh, I missed on that one. All right, whatever. See, like, this is what I'm saying. Like, I can still kill the opponent even if I mess up my melts on Citlali. Boom. Elemental reaction done. So it does buff her elemental mastery, right? So let's switch out. Let's make sure. Elemental mastery, 476. Yes. So it does actually buff her elemental mastery, which is really good. Oh, her weapon is only 265. Oh, no, but it does give you 100 baseline. So it's 365 and then, what, 470? So that gives her, like, 470, 365, 700, almost a little bit over 800 elemental mastery, and she's not even on a 5-star artifact set. And I mean, I'm using crit rate here. Like, I would just, what I would do simply, use EM here, right? Use EM here. If I could, I would, you know, in terms of having her C1. So, you know, let's say, I mean, you'd be able to get to 1,000 if you had her weapon, though. That is, if you had her weapon. You probably wouldn't run her weapon. So you'd be able to get to 700, and so that's a 1,400, you know, baseline buff, flat buff, right? Just a flat buff like Shinha. If I'm being entirely honest, not really that insane. A 1,400, you know, buff. It's okay, not great, right? It's okay. It does get buffed by a lot of you know, Mavwika, you know, reactions and stuff. Yeah, it's good, right? It's a nice damage increase, but I wouldn't expect it to be insane. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.